Yeah, let's move on to happier things as I move on to my favorite segment, aesthetics.
Ugh.
Lots of uniform news
Thought we were
here
done, but okay.
across baseball. Never, we are never done. You should be happy about this. This is well, I've got good news, bad news, and good news.
Oh,
So, do you want the good news or the bad news or the good news first?
well, I think I like your order. Let's start off with the first good news.
Well, I don't remember what my order was, but
You
okay.
said
Well, I'll
good
start
news,
out with
bad news, good news. So let's start off. Let's bookend with good news, bad news in
okay.
the middle.
I don't know if you meant specifically. One piece of good news is that
Yes.
Nike and Fanatics have announced that they will be reverting back to the old uniforms we have known and loved all of our lives, gone away from the shitbags they produced this past season, this current season. The flimsy materials are gone. The tiny names on the back are gone. The see-through pants are gone.
Ah,
Uh,
boo.
the rip-away pants are gone. Basically, everything's reverting exactly to what we've had all along. So they announced that, I believe, yesterday. So this nightmare is over. Honestly, after the first couple months, I kind of didn't notice the uniforms anymore until every so often you'll see the name plates on the back with
Yeah,
just
that's where
some
I'd
teams have
always
just
noticed it.
tiny lettering. It looks like giveaway jerseys. Just nothing that looks like the the highest league of baseball on the planet. It just looks so chintzy. So those are going away, fortunately.
Well,
So
there's good news, more good
thank
news
you.
for that.
What's that?
Well, it means if you're willing to buy one of those jerseys, I'm sure in this upcoming off
Mm,
season going into next year, if you've got your favorite player, like say a Scooble jersey that's
yeah.
of the old material, that will be
Well,
available for a highly discounted price, I'm sure.
and if the Tiger, I mean, this historic Tiger season, though, that this one-off year with these bizarre jerseys, it might be a collector's item, and
That's right.
maybe in 20 years, the cool kids will be wearing them. Yeah, since they'd be so rare. Yeah, that's a great point. Maybe I should load up on these shitty
I
Fanatics uniforms.
I may be loading up. I may be loading
Well,
up.
you are wearing I kind of don't trust your judgment on
What do you
fashion,
mean?
baseball fashion, as you are wearing a sleeveless White Sox basketball jersey right
That's
now.
right.
If you're not
121.
if you're not watching on YouTube right now,
Go
yeah,
watch if you're not.
it's quite a sight. Your pasty shoulders over there
Well, it's
are
great. You
blinding
can
me,
see
but
the tan. You can see the tan line. It's like I'm wearing
yeah.
2 shirts or just I have arm sleeves on up to my mid bicep.
It's quite a statement you're doing over there. So yeah, I'll take I'll be taking your fashion advice with a grain of salt. But
Hey, in
all right,
post,
then
in well, hold on, real quick question. In post, can you just make
go
my
ahead.
arms tan all the way up? Can you just tan the
I
rest?
am I'm a veteran graphic designer, but I'm not that talented.
Come
I'll have to say
on,
that where
use some
I could
effects
pull
in
that
post
off, but
production, fucker. Come on. I should have green screened
just
my arms.
JPEG it. Yeah, green screen it.
All right.
Well, I got to transition to bad news here before we get to the other good news. Bad news is in their infinite wisdom and profit-seeking interests, Major League Baseball has signed a sponsorship deal with a German clothing company named Strauss. Strauss to put their logo on every batting helmet this postseason. And the first examples were this afternoon with my Tigers versus the Astros. We got to see this enormous Strauss logo plastered on the side of every batting helmet. Uh, it's just a block. It's basically Futura font Strauss with like a weird ostrich logo.
Sounds
It is
great.
it's enormous on the side of every helmet. But the good news, I'll find a silver lining in this. It's gross. It's weird. Like I've never heard of this company. I guess that maybe is the point. Like if they need to advertise to get people to know who they are, I guess that's effective because now I'm talking about them on our stupid podcast. But it's so gross. It's just ugly. It's just a bad, crass commercialism, money grab. If it was Nike, I maybe could understand a swoosh on the side of the helmet, or I don't know, some partner you've heard of, MasterCard. It's just bizarre. I have no idea the terms of the deal. I don't think those have been disclosed. Fortunately, I can say it did not affect my viewing of today's playoff game. I barely noticed it. I actually forgot about it at one point. Um, I'll be curious to get your thoughts on it. As you weren't able to watch, I don't think you've seen any of the games yet
No,
today,
have
but
not.
you'll see it. But it's not quite as bad as I've made it sound, which is it's bad, but it doesn't distract from the viewing, which is nice. But just bizarre and just another gross decision by Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball. But I'll end this aesthetic segment with more good news as Major League Baseball announced this morning, I think, maybe it was yesterday. And they are capitulating to a discussion you and I had on a previous aesthetics earlier this season, as they will be reverting back to home and road team uniforms in the All-Star game. Back to the way it always was. The player from their team will be wearing their own uniform. They won't be wearing the generic city themed uniform or wherever the All-Star game happens to be at that year. Far more aesthetically pleasing. It's how All-Star games should have always looked. It's been weird that they ever changed that. It's been hard to identify players. They come in and out of the game. You don't know who's who necessarily because they all have the exact same uniform that's unrecognizable. So a big smart move just to go back to the way things were once again by Major League Baseball. You figured out you didn't need to do any of this shit and you fucked it all up. Just go back. They're going back to their prospective team uniforms throughout the All-Star game. So I don't know if you cared as much about that as I did, but I love it. It helps me identify the players, but I think it looks so cool when all the American League wears their home uniforms, all the National League wears their road uniforms, or vice versa. I think it's so cool, and really identifying the players is the biggest benefit. So bravo to Major League Baseball. You finally came back to your senses. But you have any thoughts about any of that? Or you just not give a shit like usual for this segment?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of indifferent about it. I always is kind of
Kinda.
annoyed. Yeah, well, does that mean for the home run derby they're going to go back to wearing like an American League and National League jersey?
Yeah, they'll still have those uniforms for that and to wear at different events throughout the weekend or that week. But the regular uniforms will be used during the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't mind having an all-star uniform that's actually worn in the game, but I
I
get it.
hated it.
I get it. Like if, you know, I guess you're having trouble figuring out who's who.
Come on.
I don't
All
really
right.
care.
Okay, let's move on then. You shit on this long enough. So
Word Hole Media.